Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 223. Each week we meet to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, on our Facebook group, Dumb SEO Questions, and also on Twitter at Dumb SEO QS. With us today we have David Roseanne, the oldest man in SEO. David lives in the south of England and can be found at writingforseo.org. Mr. Taki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net and also a Google Top contributor on the AdSense community. Mr. Taki can be found at wasaweb.net. Senior SEO manager for Zendesk.com in the United States is Micah Fisher-Kirshner. He's also a regular on the SEO public speaking circuit. And Tim Capper is CEO of onlineownership.com in the United Kingdom, about 100 miles north of Massatage. And he's also a Google Top contributor on the Google My Business community. All right, our first question tonight is on Webmaster tools. I think I remember Micah answering it through the week, and it's a search for multiple queries. In Webmaster tools, using the search analytics under queries, you can filter for one query. Is there a way to search for multiple queries?
Yeah, the answer to that was not within the tool itself. Obviously, you can run a quick general search, but you can't run multiple ones at once. You essentially have to pull that data out. Now, when you do that, bear in mind that the data will not match up. So you're going to run into potential issues that way. The numbers that provided in aggregate at the top is not going to be the same as if you pulled it all out and then tried to sum it up, even if you had less than the 1,000-row limit. And that's due to various things like privacy and other specific reasons that Google does not provide the full list of numbers. So, and there's no other, unfortunately, either. So just be aware, pick one. You'll be fine if you pull it out that way or use their kind of API to pull the data. So, but yeah, in the end, there's no way to run multiple queries within the Search Console's system.
Excellent. Thanks, Micah. I don't think anyone wants to add anything to that, do they? No? Okay, let's move on to our next. This one from Lauren Noble. She asks, how important is readability for the Yoast plugin if the SEO is good? Lauren went on to say, it reads fine to me, but the plugin says otherwise.
I think it's
just remember, I mean, if you've written it, or a copywriter's written it, or someone's written it, and it reads well to you, you know, often I don't know where or how, what their readability little check mark, I don't know where that comes from, because I've generally when I kind of create content, you know, generally it's created. We normally have a proofreader, and then Yoast comes back and goes, readability is poor. So I have no idea where this crap comes from. Yeah, I have no idea where it comes from. So yeah, and I don't know what kind of it searches on or what parameters. Is it just American English? I don't know. You know, there's a whole ton of questions. I literally just ignore it, totally ignore it. And, you know, take their little traffic system SEO thing with a pinch of salt. Also, you know, just, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought you'd finished.
Yeah,
I'd go along with that as well. Can someone please hit Tim on the head, please? Anyway, I'd ignore it too. If you don't have the group of jolly swagmen that Tim has of editors and proofreaders and short story writers, you could use something like Grammarly on Grammarly.com, which is pretty good. Whatever tool you use, you need to ultimately take responsibility for what appears or what you end up with. Nothing is perfect. You would be, you know, ultimately you would be better off with a team of sub editors like a traditional newspaper would have. But you know, that's not open to many of us. So I would say if you're unsure of, say, grammar rules, if you're unsure of how whether the writing is right, there are ways to do it, but not Yoast's readability traffic lights. So yeah, as I say, I quite like Grammarly. I don't think I have in fact, I don't have my subscription running at the moment, but I sort of wax hot and cold about it. I think, yes, I really ought to run copy through it, because most of my copy doesn't get reread by an editor. So I have it, and then I think, sod this, it's really a bit superfluous. So as I say, I wax a bit hot and cold personally, but if you're unsure of style and grammar and readability, then something like that may well help you along.
Yep, and also I see Casey Markey, a new contributor on our SEO Questions, or it must be Facebook, is it? Not sure, but anyway, thank you, Casey. Your input is appreciated. All right. By the way, David, you've got a halo over your head tonight. Is it a real one?
Yes.
Can you see the halo?
It hasn't turned into a Colgate ring of confidence yet. It is hovering there, showing my saintliness.
Your goodness.
Oh, I just thought it was a light bulb. Obviously, no, it's not bright, but hey, you know.
Well, it could be a lampshade, yes, but you know, we think it's a halo. And Massa thinks it's a portal to another dimension. He thinks he's just going to get rid of me easily. That's what it is.
Okay, on to the next. This one from Patty Mantelins on Facebook. Do searches in WordPress count as organic search in Google Analytics? I won't read the rest of it. It's a fair bit there, but you guys do have it on your run list.
Yeah, that shouldn't count as organic search. That will show up as usually just a referral coming in from WordPress itself, or depending if it's within your own site, that's going to be just direct traffic. Now, the reason essentially for that is WordPress is not intrinsically seen as a search engine, so basically it won't be shown as organic search. It might have a search field But unless you manually go in and classify WordPress as a search engine when it has this parameter, it will not, Google Analytics will not out of the box say this is a search engine. And so you'll see this in certain other cases, even for lesser known search engines. Sometimes Google just won't classify it as such. I think DuckDuckGo sometimes is not classified as a search engine. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you. We're going to record that as the answer, and we'll move on to the next. Hope that's been useful for you, Paddy Mantelins. Randy Milanovic asks, what's the scoop on position 0? That's why I love SEO Questions. I learn something new every week. Now I'm going to hear about what a position 0 is, the featured snippet. Outside of formatting like an FAQ, what's there to do? Uh-oh.
Well, position 0, direct answers or featured snippets. This, generally the way to look at it, it's ranking. Your regular website result usually, for the most part, has to rank on the first page, and you're more likely to get it the higher up the page you are. But usually, from what people have kind of together looked at in aggregate, they've seen that you're above the fold. It's depending on the type of snippet that shows up. Usually it's in a table. And the answer is pretty clear and concise, and sometimes repeats the question or is just directly answers the question in a quick sentence. There is no information provided from Google per se in any specific detail about it. But one of the guesses with that is that there's once chosen, it's heavily dependent on click-through rate, higher click-through rate than normal. So a lot of it is just trying your best to see what will provide a better result from that, and seeing if you can put something potentially on the page, higher up on the page, to signify that that sentence that you're trying to create is going to be pulled in. But as far as I'm aware, there's been no, I'd say, concrete studies or information about what are the specific things you absolutely have to do beyond kind of what people have looked at and seen in aggregate around the web.
Thank you, Monica. Anybody else? Okay, Randy, I hope that has been helpful for you. Here's one from Neil Cheeseman on tags versus category. He asks, can they be used in the same way? And if not, why not? What would you consider to be best practice? Tag URL example website.com/tag /can of worms /example website /category /can of worms / Why is David Roseanne laughing?
Because there's a whole team of very small people behind me tickling me.
I just like the fact that they use can of worms.
Yes.
That was nice. Yeah, I'm of the view that it's you use one. For the most part, I just use category because it's an easier concept. I don't use tags because, well, you're just basically creating most of the time junk pages that really, there's no value to them. And category pages, I try to keep those limited. and kind of ask myself what kind of category pages are of value to potentially rank, where it is a list of your valuable subjects, essentially of the posts that you've got, and kind of aggregates those into a set of pages, into a set of pages that have those posts. And that's kind of how I see as having categories. Usually, I mean, obviously depending on the site, the numbers will vary, but I keep those fairly limited, 10 to 15 at most, just so that it's keeping both the amount of categories limited in terms of not going too crazy and creating a lot of junk pages, but also from a standpoint of keeping my blog focused around a set of number of topics and not going too crazy in having too many different areas, because your posts, you want to have them be topically, not just topically relevant, but very consistent on the topics you're talking about. So you've got a set of authority with it. And so having too many tags and having too many categories can create a detrimental effect in that regard, where then your blog is, if it's about everything, it's about nothing.
Thank you, Micah. I've got bandwidth problems. I'll disable HD. All right. Let's move on to the next one. This one from Chase Rayner. This went in many directions on Facebook. I think Micah saw about 100 comments on this one. Anyway, Chase said, should I be no indexing categories like this, https //chaserayner.com/categories/SEO? And if not, should I fill out the info about these categories in WordPress? Also, should I be even using categories if I'm not using them? All of my posts are only one file path down anyways, for instance, Chase Rayner post or /page. The reason why I'm doing it this way is because I don't want to delete the site with multiple file paths before the actual post. So I'd be doing product or service pages, which I'm not. If I do want to add no index, what plugin should I use to disallow indexing? Yoast? My screen is still black and white, is it?
Yours is just frozen on a set screen for me. But to the no indexing of categories, I actually keep categories indexed. Tag pages, absolutely. I just try not to have at all, much less no index. But yeah, tag pages, no index. The reason why category pages are useful is kind of like what Alan Blayless noted in the comments, which is that it helps to provide topical relevance, gets the links going to your older blog posts that might have value, because once they're off the homepage, or once it goes past a few pages, they kind of disappear. So you need an ability to internally link to some of your top pages that are topically relevant, and that's where category pages come in. As long as you're not creating way too many of them, you keep it concise, then these pages are going to be both in terms of value for Google, but also for the user to be able to find some of the top things that you normally blog about.
Thank you, Mike. To add anything to that?
I've got absolutely nothing to add to it, except I think that's very much why you should have them indexed, and why I normally have them indexed. And yes, the just use categories. Don't mess about with them. Keep the number fairly small, and don't use tags because you'll get all sorts. You're getting into all sorts of mess with duplicated content, etc., etc. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay, let's move on to the next. Chad Kazuski, on connecting Facebook reviews to Google My Business. Is there a way of connecting Facebook reviews off a business page to Google My Business? So Chad, the first community answer, he said yes. I don't know what he meant there.
It's a response to Jeremy L. Knauf's connecting, as in having reviews from Facebook show up in your Google My Business page question.
All right.
So it's yes to that.
We didn't get all of the answers when we scraped this question. Oh well.
Yeah. I think the answer is no, isn't it?
I think the answer is no, but I'm not an expert on this. Can someone wake Tim up?
No, there's no way.
Okay.
Google doesn't allow you to attach to Facebook. Facebook doesn't allow you to attach to any Google properties either. They don't like each other. So, end of.
Okay. Let's have a look at the next. Chase Rayner. What do you say to clients who ask this? And the question, if you could make us number one over the weekend, that'd be great. David Harris said goodbye. I think that's what I would think.
He's very polite, isn't he? Yes, I think I would attempt to give them a dollop of reality before telling them that I wouldn't be interested in doing it.
Tim Capper never had one that did. He said he educates clients. I'm sure he does. I'm frozen again, am I? Bloody hell.
Yep.
What can I do? Let me see. Is that any better? Is that still frozen?
Yeah, it's still frozen.
We'll move on to the next and see if it improves by itself before I try and do something else. All right, this one, another one from Chad Kazuski. He said it's titled "Good SEO Qualifying Questions." He said this is a SEO sales question, but if you are cold calling, trying to get future clients, what are some?
Your screen's still on that Facebook one. But anyway, yeah, I answered this one. Well, a lot of people that obviously offer different advice, but specifically for me, I don't cold call at all. And the reasons being for me, obviously it's just the time and effort is completely wasted purely because, one, they may not be aware of SEO or what it is. And you're going to spend hours and hours educating them on what SEO is, what it can potentially do for them, etc., etc., etc. And at the end of that, they may just say, oh, thanks, no thanks. They may not even have a budget. Number two is they may have dealt with an SEO in the past, who now you're telling them, so they may have had a bad experience, they may have been ripped off, they may have even had a penalty, and you're going to spend all your time defending your decisions you do because of previous idiots. Number three is they may already be using an SEO agency, and here you're coming along going, oh, your site sucks, I've done an audit, it's shit, blah, 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 blah. And you are telling a business owner essentially that the decision that they made to trust and go with someone else is a bad decision. So not ideal. Yeah, so those are the three main reasons I never cold call. All my main clients, which are on sort of a monthly retainer, come to me via referrals. Pretty much every single one. And then, of course, my troubleshoot, my one-off quick fix troubleshooting consultations, they tend to come to me directly via my site, where they've read an article which is specific to a problem that they've got, and they contact me directly asking me, yeah, I've got the same kind of issue, can you sort it out for me? Or in a forum where I've provided an answer to someone to a question that they're having an issue with, which then they contact me directly saying, I see you help this guy out, can you sort out mine? So ultimately, I've probably in the very beginning, 10 years ago, I made a couple of cold calls, but then I realized, 10 years ago, trying to sell SEO was just, it was just like near impossible. And when you did, you spent so much time educating people at the end of it, when you worked out actually time in terms of return on investment based, it was just ridiculous. So essentially, I don't cold call. If you read the other thread, other people have obviously given their opinion, their advice, and other things, but that was mine personally.
Yeah, I think cold calling doesn't really make sense, because unless you obtain a contract at the end of the call, you're really not making money. So if you're randomly calling people, or if you have a very broad targeting, then it's not really going to translate into any meaningful return on your time and effort, as far as I can see.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I haven't ever. I'm two calls up on you, Tim. I haven't ever cold call for a business, but I did run a telemarketing office in two of our capital cities in the 90s, and at that time it was nothing else but cold calls, and I can tell you it's very hard to keep people motivated making cold calls. They get a few bashings. Oh, I must tell you, I made a terrible mistake. I loaded the wrong listing for the call list, and I really blew it, and I only found out about it a few years later. But anyway, I loaded the call list, but it was a duplicate of the one that had already been there. So all of these people in this office, about 20 of them, are making these calls to people that somebody else from the same office had called the day before. And then by day 3 and day 4, they're all bashing the same people. Yeah, that's why, you know, I'm not driving a Ferrari. Anyway, let's go on to the next. I've already done that. Okay. Paddy Mantelins asks a question on hunting pre-SSL backlinks. Yeah, what a nightmare. All of your backlinks are going to HTTP, and Google views them as totally separate to HTTPS. And anyway, Maddie says, how many of your old pre-SSL backlinks are you people hunting down to request HTTP?
Uh-oh. Just lost Jim.
Earth to Jim.
Mm-hmm. Well, and while we're waiting, I'll just note for the question. I think the question is framed it a bit wrong because most people are not typing in HTTPS when they're linking to people. So when you're talking about pre-SSL backlinks, it's not even pre, it's up to today. So this is going to be an ongoing thing when people are linking over. Most of the standard ways, even if you just type in a www into kind of all the documents, most of them are still not auto putting in HTTPS. So when it comes to the backlinks, in terms of if you're looking to get that fixed, it's going to be a long process until people get into the habit of putting that S at the end. So the question, of course, is whether or not to really be spending the time on that, and that's you know, it'll depend on your business, but I generally see it as a not exactly worth that much time to really focus on putting the non-secure version and getting them to correct it to the secure version. The exceptions to that might be if it's needed for some brand or perception purposes to show that the site's actually on the secured side being visually shown. But beyond that, usually I don't see it as a huge priority at all. Welcome back, Jim.
He's keeping stum about it.
Yeah, he's probably got a remote set up.
Oh,
there we go.
Sorry about that. I lost the plot, or I actually lost the whole shebang. So we covered pre-SSL backlinks in my absence. So are you happy with what you answered?
Yeah, I think we might have covered it very well. So
okay.
On to the next.
Go to the next. This one from Lauren Noble on Google AMP. Lauren said, hello, I was wondering if anyone knows if Google AMP helps with SEO. And is it enough to into my website?
On its own, it's not something that you need, particularly smaller scale. AMP is a bit of a different platform. It's there to help load the page faster. So if you can load the page really fast without the need for AMP, you're good. That said, Google is highlighting AMP separately for kind of news-related articles, and is bit by bit expanding it, at least testing-wise, to certain other areas. And those that have AMP implemented can stand out quite a bit better in the Google search results. However, there are other potential downsides to it that I also consider to be an SEO issue, which is the whole branding side. When people share, it's hosted on a Google URL and not yours. You don't have the same kind of control. So you have to be very mindful about the negatives when it comes to currently with AMP from your brand's perspective. And that's a very important thing if you're trying to continually to grow your business or get it to stand out. The last thing you need is to be having it look like it's coming from some other website. And to me, it actually looks real spammy when I see it shared. Like half the time I have to keep reminding myself this is not some fake thing whenever I see it on a random Google domain. It just feels wrong. So it's great for speed. It's great for potentially standing out in some outside of the standard web results and kind of some of the universal. If you're kind of focused in the news area. There's some good areas for that. But intrinsically, if you're able to improve the load of your site already at a very quick speed, you don't necessarily need to then implement AMP. And so that in of itself, you can have a site rank fine without AMP in the regular web results.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to the next. Question from a good friend Stephen Sicantelli from Abraxas Taxi in Florida. An SEO expert. The new website is done, but where can I hire SEO expert to make sure everything is in the proper place? This is a small website. The free tools love it, others not so much. The site ranks well and just would like it to be optimized. Also, is 79 a good mobile search site speed? I see Suraj Gadagay said I can help you with this. Please PM me. Normally, we'd ban somebody for doing that, but Suraj Gadagay is such a strong supporter of our SEO Questions community, and his contribution is immense. And so I think we can let this one go through to the keeper. What do you reckon? Yeah. Thank you, Tim. All right. Stephen Sicantelli, if Suraj wants to help you, I would grasp it with both hands. Would we call this one an answer? Let's do that. Oh dear. Mustafa Ifel Masoudi asks, can anyone explain to me what is SEO and how does it work in websites? A piece of string. as a
I guess for a very, very, very basic answer, SEO is search engine optimization. Essentially, Google crawls websites and indexes those websites into a search result. SEO essentially is fine-tuning or optimizing a website for search engines to actually crawl that website. And so that is it at a complete base level.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, and that pretty much covers it. We don't need to go deeper. Do you think, Rob? All right, let's call that an answer. Okay, this one from Ashish Denai, Webmaster Tools versus the SEMrush backlink report. Many backlinks for my website. Google Webmasters are showing 384 links, while SEMrush is showing only 15 backlinks. Why is it so? Do you have any idea?
Doesn't SEMrush recommend that you connect Google Search Console to it?
You can. Yeah, you can, but they still don't go through all your...
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the difference? Essentially, Google has massive, humongous, just ginormous data centers in every different country in the world, and they literally just crawl websites and pages out there in the entire bloody world, and they're doing that every single day. So therefore, they can find links to your site a lot quicker than a privately owned company's data, like SEMrush. Essentially, SEMrush will eventually find it. It's just going to take a lot longer. You can actually connect to SEMrush, but still you're only going on the Search Console stuff. So essentially, it's what the different crawlers find. Google's crawlers are going to find them 1,000,000 times faster than SEMrush's a SEMrush crawler. We'll find them eventually. Yeah, it all depends. Like, for example, and it's the same with if you use other ones. So, for example, if you slap in a very high profile, well, not necessarily high profile, but a fairly well indexed, ranking, quite a pretty good website into Ahrefs, you get a really good idea into, they will have crawled a lot of and found a lot of their links. But if you take a medium-sized little thing and sort of, a medium-sized little website, chuck it into Ahrefs, you're gonna get not a lot of links mentioned, where if you look at the Search Console, they might have double, triple, quadruple the amount. And same for all of them. It's literally about budget and how much for the web and find these links. They will find them, but that's why there's the discrepancy. And also remember, Google Search Console, I think, also shows you only a limited amount. There may be more in Search Console. So let's say on the flip side of this, you've got a pretty good site, and it's quite niche. It's in all the top tier sort of, out there. SEMrush or the other search crawlers may be returning a larger amount of links than that site's Search Console. So, two flip sides, but it's basically crawl budget, who's crawling what, who's found which link first. Yeah, that's about it, really, I suppose.
It sounds like a good answer to me. All right, let's go to the next. Where's this flow tonight? Unbelievable. Not good.
Well, optimization, you also want the search engines to give certain value for certain keywords to that website.
As clear as ever. Did we lose Jim, I guess, again? Which one were we on? Did we finish 15 technically yet?
Yeah, I think we are moving on to 15.
Yeah, 15 is the next one.
Yeah. Jim's dropped off. I hope he comes back in here.
Oh, Jim has rejoined. If he doesn't say anything, I guess one of us has to read the question.
Oh, but it's such
Yeah,
a
go
long-
ahead and read the question, somebody.
All right, David. You volunteered.
Did I?
Yep.
Okay. This is from John Pitcher. Changing exact match domain name. It says, a potential UK web design customer has a 3 to 4 year old website with an exact match domain name, http://county1-keyword.com. The .co.uk domain was taken. A friend has told him that he should change it to http blah 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 county1 -county2 -keyword.com, as he would like to target both counties. Should he 1. keep the exact match county1--com domain name? Number 2, create a partial match domain name, e.g. http village-keyword.co.uk or surname-keyword.co.uk to make him more easily findable and redirect. 3, create a http county1-county2-keyword.com and redirect. His site is currently doing very badly in Google, largely due to the terrible finish of the previous web designers, duplicate content within pages and between pages, thin content that doesn't state what services they offer, plugins left with lorem ipsum text, no title tags, no H1s, no alt text, no mentioning the local town, etc., etc. They only have 8 directory backlinks with http domainname.com as anchor text, so spammy backlinks do not appear to be the issue. We've asked him to write some proper content that explains what he does and will clean up the plugins, title tags, etc. But I'm not sure how to advise him about the domain name. As always, any help is much appreciated. Well, I'm not sure that necessarily it's a good idea to change the domain name for the reason that you might get a better keyword match with some of your content. It's something that probably won't get you that much leverage, if at all. The real question is, I suspect, whether, as Edwin said, that there are some spammy backlinks amongst those that look as if they're okay. Also, how bad is the content? All these things sound like a pretty badly SEO'd site. I think if you're pretty sure that there isn't anything that's upsetting Google rather than just not getting you anywhere. So in other words, has the site owner done something like put in spammy backlinks? Things like duplicate content will make the site not perform particularly well, but it won't penalize you. So if the site appears to be not being penalized, I'd leave it where it is and put right all those list of nasties that you have in the paragraph starting his site is currently doing very badly in Google. Right, I think that's me.
Good one, David. Good one. Look, I'm sorry about that, guys. I wonder if the problems and issues we're having tonight my fault. Maybe our link has gone down, but I just had a look at fast.com and it seems to be traveling along all right. All right. let's put this up. What's this? Right, have we covered more, David? The one that's on the screen now, changing an exact match domain name.
That was the one I went on at length about, having read it out, and no one should no one decided to tell me otherwise. So there we go. And Massa seems to have got set on Leicestershire and Northamptonshire pink fluffy elephants. Anyway.
Okay.
So we're now on to answer your question. We're now on question 16, I think.
This one from Chase Rayner. I'm not sure what he's smoking, but I'm sure as I want to get some. He said, "Do you guys think this still works as a strategy?" And he presented this meme, and then I said, "Build links via blog commenting." But he's taken the trouble to put in brackets, "I don't think it still works as a strategy." None of us do either. In fact, none of us have thought that in this millennium, blog commenting is just a stupid thing. But I did see Alan Blue Eyes speaking on how somebody built relationships via commenting on blogs, and that may well be useful. Guys, any comments on this one?
If it's, yeah, building links for blog commenting, I would say pretty much is almost a no. I mean, it's really just creating a networking connections. Straight up getting links from a blog comment, no, most blogs no follow everything. Pretty much you might as well just build the connections, and that's not necessarily I would classify as a blog commenting strategy, as it's just one of many things you would do as a part of networking and building a connection to whoever you're trying to target. So it's really whatever the audience target like going after a person, for example, or the author would be the actual strategy, and one of many tactics would be something like blog commenting, but definitely not a strategy, and not something on its own that's of value.
Excellent, thank you, Micah. Okay, so we're on to the next, and hopefully we won't break this time. All right, so it looks like we've done it again, guys. Answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, on our Facebook group, Dumb SEO Questions, and also via Twitter. Now we move on to our weekly SEO, where we talk about topics of interest that have been posted in the SEO news community. This one here, Google killing off Google Plus on January the 24th. Actually, it's probably just about true, because I mean, I find it very hard to go there. The saying goodbye to Google Classic on the 24th. Yeah.
I think the headline is a nice bit of clickbaiting, is it not? I think you did very well on question 17 there, Jim.
I don't do these, David. It's all done by others. But yeah, I see what he's thinking of. He's referring to the content, the title of the article in the Search Engine Journal, which was Google killing off Google Plus on January the 24th, but it won't be gone for good.
Yes. And it just struck me that was this an exercise in shutting the door after the horse has bolted, or is it going to have such a phenomenal working over that it will rise phoenix-like from the ashes? Probably a bit of neither.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, it's a bit of a toss-up for me. I mean, I think they should bring back Google authorship and real names in profiles, with some latitude for some people to use a pseudonym. But then again, if that happened, Mark Trepagan would suddenly become relevant again.
I had that feeling of that name coming down the pipe at me.
Yeah.
As Tim said before, forcing people to use a user interface that is an appalling color and irritates people, it doesn't seem smart to me.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, what's been really big in the news about it in a while? I mean, it's just, there's not much like that I would say that's really been big and going on that's caught a lot of people's eyes. You know, bit by bit, I think they're just closing a few things down, trying to figure out where its niche focus can go, is what they're trying to do with it. And if that's basically photo collections, it's photo collections. They're basically trying to see what they can do. So
yeah, but what's happening on the 24th is that they're just shutting off. They're not really doing anything. Anything new. Just shutting off access to the classic Google Plus interface.
yeah,
And
yeah.
My argument would be that if they could reasonably assume, it's safe for them to assume that anybody's still using the classic interface because they didn't know that there was another version that they could use. If they're still using the classic interface, it's because that's what they want. And to just close it down, it's just plain fuckwittery.
Not really. I mean, a lot of companies do this. It's a hassle to maintain too many different versions. So after a bit, you're going to shut down an old version. They've made the choice of the direction they want to go. And if most people have already made the switch, at a certain point, they're going to shut it down and just, deal with what they have.
Maybe, I mean, well, I think you're probably more likely to be right than me. But as Rob just said, he's still on classic. I am. I think Tim would be. Are you, Micah? Are you still using Classic?
Forget which one I'm on.
No, I'm not.
I don't like the I don't like the current version. I know that, but because it keeps throwing me to the photo collection side, and that annoys the hell out of me because I don't care about that side. So, but that's why like I think they're just gradually making the shift over to being more photo collection focused. At least that's what I'm seeing it as, or maybe group collections, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's wait for some clarity. Hopefully it'll come soon. Let's go to the next. And there's a warning for people to remove pop-ups from their mobile pages. Google confirms it's rolling out the mobile intrusive interstitials penalty yesterday. Should be concerned.
Yeah, which was like a week ago or more.
Oh, I see.
This is one of those that I posted last week and we didn't go through. Yeah, I just someone actually asked me what the heck an intrusive interstitial was, and I think that that's a bit of incredible jargon that the average business owner is not going to have the foggiest idea what it is. So I tried to turn it into English. But yeah, there you go. It's you shouldn't be doing it. So there.
I know that like Glenn Gabe has been harping on this. He's been focusing very heavily about this, and he hasn't really seen a big shift in a lot of sites. A few have been hit, but not many too heavily.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next. And this is good news for everybody. 71%. Well, we don't know 71% of what, but they plan to spend more on digital marketing activities in 2017. And Dave, at least A, most websites are finding digital marketing effective. And B, it's going to be even tougher on the web in 2017.
I'm sure there's a C and a D that we could come up with, but those are the first two that hit me.
Yep. Oh, because you really can't speak on in corporate land, can you, Micah?
Sorry, say that again.
Speak in about corporate land. It's I mean, because of your I was going to say, what's it like at work? But of course, can't be expected to answer that.
Sorry, but okay. Well, what was the question in particular?
Well, I was saying that, like for argument's sake, I was asking this news article in relation to your company, and I was wondering if your company was going to be spending more in digital in 2017, but please don't think that is now a question. As soon as I said it, I thought I shouldn't be asking this question.
Even if I could, I've been on paternity leave, so I don't know. Regardless.
Yeah, no problem with it. I guess it means that Tim Capital earns 71% more because he's got them all, hasn't he? Anyway, let's move on to the next. This one, how Google ranks top stories, they're the ones that are about 20 places down, are they, or above the first organic search? Which are top stories? And in the news, are they also up the top, or are they 20 places down? Anyway, in the news and the top stories section in the search results are completely algorithmic and based partially on content, partially on the queries, partially on how we think it makes sense to show websites with that kind of top stories set up there. This, I believe, also depends on whether you're using AMP on your pages, valid AMP or not. So all of these things kind of come in together. It is organic ranking, and that kind of determines which URLs we show in which parts of the results. So specifically in regards to those or these one boxes and different parts of the search results, it really depends on a number of factors. So that there's no one single thing to always show up there or to never show up there. What does that mean?
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought, having read it. It says, I think what it boils down to is we put some of the factors that you think that we might use into a big bucket, and sometimes if I think AMP is included, I put AMP in as well. But if we believe it isn't, then we don't, and then we slosh it all around and we decide what's going to appear. It's a typical Google answer, isn't it?
The non-answer.
Yes. But yes, the story said this is how it's. This is something that Google has never come clean on, and John Muller did the other day, or was that effect? And I read it and I thought, is he? And then I thought, well, maybe the guys would could make more sense of it than I did. But it seems that you, Jim, are equally confused by John Muller's clarity over this.
The only thing is that there's nothing to gauge from that, David. The list of things that I don't understand would fill an encyclopedia.
Yes, well, I've got a copy of it, and it's very, very big. It takes up the whole of the rear extension to the west wing here. He's gone quiet. I've shut him up. Yeah!
I think Tim was on the phone, and so we can't expect something from Tim. Any other comments, guys? All right. I've got a feeling it's going to be thank you for watching time, and it is.
It is.
And we thank you for your interest in what we do, because that's what makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again, but for now, it's good night.